Welcome to Workshop 3, Getting Ready for Planning, the third workshop of a 4-part series on planning for life after school. We are now halfway through getting a plan started. With Workshop 3, we will explore how to identify what people are interested in experiencing. By doing so, we are getting ready for future planning and goal setting. This will help in narrowing down our search for new resources and enable us to make the most of our existing resources. So let's begin. An important part of what a plan outlines is what makes a person unique. The goal of beginning to look at what makes a person unique is to answer questions such as: who is in the support network? Are there existing hobbies and interests? What are specific strengths, gifts, and talents? Any previous experience through volunteer work or school co-op placements? How can obstacles be overcome? Are there fears to be considered? Are there dreams to explore? Answering such questions will help in starting to get a picture of possible opportunities to begin with. To make things easier, let's break down each question further. Support networks. A support network is a group of people that a person knows from different areas of life. A support network may include family, friends, support workers, teachers, coaches, or anyone the person has developed a strong relationship with. By inviting others to the plan, a clearer picture of what makes a person unique is developed. But always remember, none of us would want a plan created for us without having any say. The dialogue always has to begin and end with the views and input of the person the plan is being designed for. Hobbies and interests. Asking a lot of questions is always the best way to get a number of answers regarding any topic. So when talking about hobbies and interests, ask questions such as: what kind of activities are enjoyed? Is there a favorite subject at school? Are there classes or sports participated in at school or outside of school? Examples of answers are watching movies, listening to music, working on art projects, playing with pets, or going to drama class. These are all clues that will show what choices might be right for planning in the future. Next, we can begin to look at strengths, gifts, and talents. This is where a support network is very important because it is not always easy for the person to list all of their positive characteristics. Areas that can be looked at are what a person brings to others, what others count on a person for, and strengths in school, sports, or at home. Previous experience. What can be included? Looking at previous experience is also very important for a number of reasons. First, let us list what can be considered previous experience, and then we can define why it is so important to make note of. Previous experience may include activities such as co-op placements at school, volunteer work, helping neighbors or other community members by walking the dog or watering plants, classes enrolled in, public speaking opportunities through school or an agency, awards received, special training, memberships with clubs or other groups, and sports teams involved in. So why is creating such a list so important? First, it helps one remember all of the experiences that have been accomplished. Next, it can act as building blocks to begin to create a resume when looking at work or volunteer opportunities, or when looking at applying to other programs through agencies or schools outside of high school. But most importantly, it can help one recall what was positive and negative about specific experiences. In other words, what worked and what did not. Next on the list is looking at needs. Remember, the needs of every person are unique to that person. Needs that should be considered when planning for future activities can include daily routines, length of time, transportation, safety and security, coaching and support, amount of training needed, and accessibility. When looking at such needs, look at how to overcome obstacles and the kinds of supports that are needed to do so. This will help in creating positive action in order to become successful in future planning. Where do fears fit into getting ready for planning? Well, just like interests and previous experience can help in outlining areas to look into, fears can help do away with areas that may not be appropriate. Let us look at some examples to help us understand this further. If a person likes sports but has a fear of crowds, an appropriate co-op placement may be a small sporting store. If a person fears change and shows anxiety when a change in routine is introduced, sorting mail in a mailroom where there is a clear routine each shift will prove to be successful. Given such examples, it is easy to see why it is good to look into fears as part of a planning process. Knowing how to eliminate options is just as important as creating options when planning for the future. What do dreams have to do with planning? Well, dreams are just as important to look at as exploring resources or looking at previous experience. Oftentimes, our dreams are what truly reflect who we are in terms of our interests and what is important to us, which is why it is included as the last step in this workshop. It can be seen as a way of summarizing so much of what is discussed when looking at what makes a person unique. The goal is not only to focus on how to reach the dream, but rather to keep dreaming. Dreams can change at any time, which is okay. It means that we are also changing as we grow and experience new things. This is all part of the journey. By completing the steps that have been provided, it will be easier to know the kinds of options to try while transitioning out of high school. It is always good to remember that try is the key word. Some of the ideas that were created out of such brainstorming may not work, which is okay. It just means that other options need to be explored. Referring back to the original brainstorm to see what may have changed and what may need to be added is always helpful. Figuring out what one wants for the future takes time and practice, which is why it is important to begin the process of planning as early as possible. Now that you've completed the Getting Ready for Planning workshop, you are well on your way to building your plan and goal setting for the future, which takes you to the next workshop in the series, Organizing the Planning Meeting.